The biggest thing that ever sabotaged my weight loss wasn't food. It was stress and anxiety. For a long time, I thought the answer was about calories and the latest diet. But the truth is, stress was quietly shaping my choices, my habits, and eventually my body. And until I faced that, nothing was really gonna change. Nothing kills motivation faster than stepping on the scale and not seeing progress. You eat right, you push yourself, you go through the hard days, and the number just doesn't move. And suddenly all of those negative thoughts show up. Like, why am I even doing this? Am I just suffering for nothing? That one number can set the tone for the whole day. If it's down, I feel unstoppable. If it's up, I feel like quitting. That's how much power that scale can hold on you if you let it. And the truth is, the scale doesn't tell the full story. I will always say that, and I keep saying that. It doesn't measure the effort. It doesn't show the small wins. It doesn't see those days where you don't give up. But when I'm stressed, none of that matters. I just see a number that looks like failure. And that's exactly when the vicious cycle starts. Stress from the scale, stress from life, and the only thing that gave me comfort before? Food. And just like that, the cycle repeats itself. Whenever something went wrong, work, money, health, I turned to food. And not just when things were bad. Even when I wanted to celebrate, I'd celebrate with food. Birthdays, holidays, you name it. Even getting through a rough week, there was always a reason to eat more. Food was comfort, but it was also a reward. And that became the pattern I lived for years. And the scary part is how normal it felt. Like, ordering too much wasn't even a decision. It was like I was on autopilot. I didn't stop to think. I just clicked the order button and filled the cart until it was overflowing. And it was always the same stuff, burgers, fries, pizza, just fried food overall. The takeout bags were so big it needed handles. And I didn't really see how much it added up until recently. I went and got takeout the other week, but this time I looked at the calories first and I tried to order mindfully. When I walked out, I had this little tiny bag in my hand. And I realized in the past, I would have left with 2 giant bags packed with way too much food. And the food itself wasn't the problem. The problem was the portion sizes. I tried so many diets in the past, from keto, paleo, Atkins, you name it. Every one of them worked at first. Until they didn't and something happened. A busy week, a holiday, just some stressful time. And once the stress hit, all the rigid rules just went out the window. It wasn't really the diets that failed. It was the stress that broke them. Because let's be honest, no diet, no matter how trendy or strict or smart, can survive if you don't know how to handle the stress behind it. That's why this time feels different. I'm not cutting out entire food groups. I'm not banning carbs. I'm not pretending I'll never have pizza again. I'm just learning how to handle the ups and downs of life without letting stress push me completely off track. And now I can say that I fight stress a little bit differently. Walking has become quiet time for my brain. Sometimes I listen to music, but other times I just walk in silence, noticing the trees and the leaves, letting my thoughts just calm down. Just a little bit lower. There's something about being out in nature that feels different than just walking through the city. It's quieter, fresher, almost feels like stress is lifting off me with every single step. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but lately the gym has also turned into this kind of outlet. I put my headphones on, blast heavy metal, and focus on my own world. I used to be so self-conscious, always scanning the room, worried about what people might be saying or thinking, but the music just shuts all that out, and I can just focus on my routine. And for me, gym is less about therapy and more about just blocking out the noise. It's me against myself. And the cravings are still there, there's no way around that. But I've found better ways to handle them. Like an apple instead of candy. I actually realized literally recently how sweet apples can be and how good of a crunch they have. And it seems like such a ridiculous thing to think about and to realize, but here we are. And same with protein bars instead of just junk food or snacks. And I try to keep, the bad snacks out of the house. I don't keep them at all, because if they're not there, if they're not available in the house, I just won't eat them. It's as simple as that. And even these small steps, these small little strategies, if you want, really make a difference. Every time I choose something better, I feel a little win there. And stacking up those little wins actually matter more than I ever thought it would. And of course, the biggest change of all has been my mindset and the way I look at things. I used to be my own worst critic. Every mistake was just another reason to beat myself up. And now I'm trying to be my own coach instead. I catch these negative thoughts when they show up, and I ask myself, why am I thinking that way? I try to look at the positives now, even in the hard moments, like what is positive about this hard thing that I need to do? Before, missing one workout meant the whole week was ruined. And I'm trying to shift that now into the thinking that, hey, tomorrow is a chance to get back on track. It's not, the whole week ruined. I used to think like, eating one bad meal meant the diet was over. It was done, I'm back into my old days, might as well just continue, right? But no, it's not. It just means that I can have the rest of the day to adjust and keep going. And like the gym is hard, it's uncomfortable. But instead of thinking this sucks, I remind myself that, I'm building strength. This whole thing moves me forward. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I figured it all out and wow, I got it all nailed down. I still have negative outbursts. They're still there. But now I'm aware of them. I notice them now. And I try to shift my perspective. I try to, change the way I look at them from the beginning. And I believe that's progress too. And I ain't gonna lie, every single time the scale goes up, I still have that sinking feeling in my gut. I still, get these thoughts in my head that, oh, maybe I can't do this. Maybe, it's too hard. I should have seen more results by now. But I try to remind myself literally in the moment that, there's no going back for me. I don't want to be that guy anymore. I don't want to revert to that lifestyle and that way of living. And I want to keep unlocking more of my life, I try to make this image in my head. I try to create this whole vision inside my head, how my future would look. And it's like riding a bike again and just going on a longer hike without stopping, or taking the bike on a hike. And I just, moving more freely without feeling trapped in my body. And that kind of vision, that whole image sort of pushes me through the doubts. And of course, it's not a perfect thing. It's not like, oh, I imagined this and then, yeah, that's all done. It puts me into a more positive way that I can spin this and look at it from a positive outlook instead of just dwelling on the negative thoughts. And also I found that, weighing myself in the morning actually helps too. Because even if yesterday didn't go as planned, I can still say, today is a new chance. It's just morning. I have the whole day ahead of me to do good choices and to actually influence more than this little number there on that scale. And look, stress and anxiety will always be there. Life is always busy. You can't help that. But I'm learning that they don't have to control me. The first step was becoming aware. And the second one is learning how to manage them in healthier ways. And it's not about being all perfect. It's not about having this all or nothing thinking and managing that, oh, I need to get rid of the stress and I get rid of the anxiety, because they won't go away. That's not how life goes. But just managing them in healthier ways. And every step I take, every choice I make proves that, it can be done. And stress and anxiety won't define the journey, it won't define your choices. Progress will. And that's just the journey I'm on right now, and just taking it one day at a time. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I really appreciate every single one of you for being here. The journey goes on. See you guys in the next one. Chonk out.